Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I want to thank one of our listeners, Brad, sent me a red Trump tie. Just got it in the mail today.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And I'm excited because I've got the cruise coming up in April, and I need a new tie.
And it's an official Trump tie.
Oh, yeah.
From the Trump store. It's got Trump's name on the back and everything. It's
got
cool. It's the one he wears all the time.
Trump's name is on the tie itself.
Yeah, it's the one he wears all the time.
Absolutely. I will be wearing it on the cruise. I was just telling you, Kathy, over the weekend, I need to get a new tie for the cruise. And now I got a Trump tie, and it's a red one, so I'm excited. So thanks, Brad. And it came in a special gift box with Trump tissue paper.
Wow.
So,
which you plan on keeping, I'm sure.
I put the Trump tissue paper in my nightstand drawer, which I never go into. So I'll keep that as a... You could put it in my coffin, Kathy.
Okay.
Okay, you can wrap me in Trump tissue paper. All right, well, listen, a lot's happening, a lot's going on. Tucker Carlson went to and left the Kremlin today. And I know some people are telling me that I'm just a little too excited and going crazy over the possibility that Tucker Carlson is interviewing Putin. And maybe I am, but let me tell you why, and then we'll just talk about it a little bit. And then there's a lot of other things we're going to cover on the program too. But Tucker interviewing Putin. One, when Fox News, Kathy, fired Tucker Carlson, that was the most self-destructive move that the mainstream media or any company probably has ever made. Because when Fox News fired Tucker Carlson, that was the end of the relevancy of cable news. Cable news was already in trouble. People abandoned Fox News by the millions, but because of Tucker's show on Fox News, a lot of people came back and gave Fox News a second chance. Then they fired Tucker. Tucker has gone out, and every time he does an interview, it's like, whoa, everyone's talking about it. He did the Trump interview, which broke records, the most viewed interview in history. And people, who's he going to interview next? He's done this, he's done that. And now look, it looks like he's gotten Putin. So Tucker Carlson Putin interview, which I think will be the most watched interview in the history of the interview. I think it'll get 1 billion views online easily through all the different platforms and resharing and people playing clips on their programs.
Well, it'll be a long interview. His interviews are like at least an hour long. I mean, he really gets into it.
I don't know, because I was following this on Twitter today. It says Tucker Carlson just now spotted heading to the Kremlin.
Then he just left.
And he left like an hour later,
it seemed. About 3 hours.
Was it 3 hours later?
3 hours.
Okay, so he left 3 hours later. So Putin may have kept him waiting for 2 hours, 2.5, who knows? But however long or short the interview is, it'll be good because Tucker's... So Tucker Carlson being fired by Fox has just ended the relevancy of the mainstream corporate media. And I know a lot of people say, well, I was done with it before. You were, but most people weren't. And I'm not talking about myself because I don't watch that stuff too much. But millions and millions of Americans were still getting their news from Fox News and elsewhere. And now it's gone. And what Tucker has done is given credibility to the alt media. The alt media would be like Megyn Kelly, Joe Rogan, us. Not that we all need credibility, but what he's done, I hate to use this term, but the mainstream media now is the alt media, right? Megyn Kelly, Rogan, us, people like us, and it's no longer cable news. And Bill O'Reilly was interviewed on one of these great Tucker interviews, and they talked about cable news. And Bill O'Reilly was asked by Tucker, what's the future of cable news? Is it going to die? Is it going to go away? He says it's always going to be in the background like newspapers, but it's not going to be relevant like it was. It's just not. It's just always going to be in the background noise like the newspapers, and no one's going to pay attention to it. And I
think people that do watch it, but with a different lens than maybe before Trump came along. And I think certainly a lot of liberals have realized, and even people that watch Fox, that how they're being lied to. And like you said, they might just check in or have it on in the background. But they watch it now with a grain of salt. And they're like, I better look into this, or I don't even know if this is true, or who knows? And
another thing about it that's why I'm so excited about Tucker and this possibility, this Putin interview and what he's done. The other thing about Tucker remember, Fox fired Tucker, and they fired Tucker for his January 6th reporting, right? He did one night It was on the shaman. Shaman got out of prison early because of that one night, and that's when they clamped down on him, right? So also getting Fox News firing Tucker, they made themselves irrelevant, but they also ended this nonsense of the televised presidential debates. These debates that have happened, like with DeSantis and Nikki Haley, those don't count. Those are like little league debates, like minor leagues. They're not. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump hasn't done a single debate, and it doesn't look like Trump and Biden will be debating because Biden's so checked out. So them firing Tucker also ended the television presidential debate. And that's very, the mainstream news is a poison in our society. And the debates are always weighted against the Republicans, right? Remember, Hillary got the questions in advance on the CNN debate for the Trump debate so she could rehearse them. There was collusion in the Obama. And those are just times we know about. But even when we don't find about collusion, the moderators of the debate are always helping the Democrat and slamming the Republican. Like, look at the last debates with Trump and Biden. The laptop that's not relevant. That's not relevant. I mean, you can't talk about that. You remember all that, Chris Wallace and all that stuff. So them getting rid of Tucker on Fox ended the presidential televised debate. Those debates are a waste of time. Yeah. Those debates became a thing because when television was new, Kennedy was in the TV. Because he won him the presidency in 1960, so it started a thing, and now we're beyond that phase. So those are some of the big reasons I always get excited about Tucker Carlson doing something. And now the Putin interview, this is what has me so excited about a Putin interview, because I know it's going to be good if Tucker did it. It'll be an interview like we haven't seen, and we have not really seen an interview with Putin by an American journalist really ever since there's been a big deal. I cannot remember the last time I've seen an interview with Putin by an American journalist
is just say
that was
it's all
relevant.
Lies. They're going to say it's all lies. What do you think Putin's going to say? I think he's going to say that, he's obviously going to say stuff about Zelensky and all that, but I'm curious what his take on things.
We're going to find out.
And the left, no matter what, even if he sounds completely reasonable, and people are like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. The left is going to say you can't trust him. He's a liar and this and that. You know what I mean? Because that's their story, because they want to give even more money to the Ukraine. This new bill they want to pass has like 60 or 80 billion more for the Ukraine. It's insane how much money we're giving these people. It's crazy. So I really hope Tucker asks about that and asks him, where do you think all this money's going? Where we've given them billions and billions of dollars. There's no audit. We don't know where it's going. Where do you think this money is going?
Yeah. Well,
I'd like him to ask him that question.
The thing about this war, this proxy war with Russia, for those that don't know what that, I think most of you know what that means, but we are fighting a war with Russia through our proxy, Ukraine. This is the first time we've been in a conflict with a nation. Bin Laden's not a nation, so that stuff doesn't count. This is the first time we've been in a conflict with a major nation. Whether not only has there not been any communication between the United States and Russia, the United States has said there will be no talks. There's nothing to talk about. So to have a war going on with a major nation like Russia and not have any peace talks is unheard of and insane. And the powers that be in this country, the last thing they want is to end this war. And what very well could happen with Tucker Carlson. Remember, I'm predicting the most views of any interview in the history of the planet, and across all different platforms. They'll be that big because it's groundbreaking, right? An American interviewing Putin. Putin is very, very smart. He's good at messaging and propaganda and everything, and he'll get things going. And the one thing they don't want, there's two things they don't want, the corrupt leadership of this country. One, they don't want peace talks because they don't want the fighting to stop because the money stops, right? We ended a 20-year war in Afghanistan, and almost the next day they start this thing to feed the military-industrial complex donors. That's one thing they don't want. They don't want peace talks. They don't want the war to stop.
No.
The other thing, they don't want Putin to be humanized because he's a big boogeyman.
Right.
Now, Tucker, I was watching some videos of Tucker in Moscow today, and the news over there, they were out on the streets of Moscow asking people their thoughts on Tucker Carlson. And I was shocked how many people know who he is.
Wow.
And they like him.
Yeah.
And there's one video. Tucker's just
he's on Twitter now, big on Twitter. So that's like a global.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. That's where I'm going with this. So Tucker was walking somewhere in Moscow, and this guy came up and said, you're the greatest American journalist. I mean, who are these people? Who is it's through Twitter. And, President Trump really needs to be back on Twitter.
I agree.
The international fame of Tucker Carlson that they're having over there is because of Twitter.
Yeah.
Because of Twitter. And I think he interviewed Andrew Tate, which I thought was a strange interview. He went over there with Patrick Bet-David and interviewed Andrew Tate. I think he interviewed Andrew Tate because Andrew Tate, he's Eastern European. He's a big deal in Russia. To get Putin to see it, to get people in Russia to see it.
Maybe.
I think that and other things he's doing has been to get that Putin interview. He's been working on that Putin interview since he was at Fox, right? Yeah. And now he's doing all this stuff. And all these people in Moscow who know who Tucker Carlson is, that's the power of this Twitter show he's doing, right? This is the new media that we're talking about. And it's really, we're living through this time when a new genre of media, a new form of media has just been born, which is this internet media. And I have no doubt in my mind, Tucker is famous in Russia, throughout all over Moscow because of Twitter, which shows you that President Trump needs to be on Twitter. If President Trump were on Twitter actively, it would change everything. And I hope when we get past the convention that he'll get back on Twitter to do that. And I mean, look at the number of people, hundreds of millions saw his interview with Tucker on Twitter. And now you see what's going on with the fame of Tucker in Moscow. It's got to be because of Twitter. So anyway, I'm very excited about the Putin interview. Mm-hmm. It will be the beginning of ending this war in Ukraine. And when Trump is back next year, remember January next year, he'll be inaugurated. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been wanting an accounting of the Ukrainian money like nobody's business. And
I think that'll happen.
That's going to happen under Trump. And we're going to find out how much crooked backroom. The story that Zelensky has 2 or 3 yachts. Not only are we going to find out that all these things are true, we're going to find out a lot more. Like I remember during the time of Yasser Arafat, who's the head of the PLO, his family lived in Paris, and they lived like royalty in Paris. Yep. And they were living in Paris like royalty on U.S. money that we were sending the Palestinians. And you're going to find a similar thing with Zelensky. Yep. Zelensky and his family,
he probably
and his
has some castle somewhere in Romania or something.
They have banks filled with. Zelensky has put enough money away that his descendants 200 years from now will not have to worry about a penny. They've got that much money put away in Swiss banks, Cayman banks, different. I don't know where. And when all this happens, oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing. Now, there's this border bill that's being discussed, and I've been saying this the last 2 weeks. I have zero respect for this Mike Johnson. I mean,
really,
nothing. I'm really burned with him.
Wow,
he goes on. Well, Matt Gaetz said he was MAGA Mike Johnson. I know he said the bill's dead on arrival, but what's he doing about? Let me explain. The United States is under attack at the southern border. Yeah. Under attack. Okay. What would Congress have done if after 9/11, and remember, more Americans have been killed from the illegals on the southern border than on 9/11, and it's an ongoing thing. Crime, fentanyl. I know fentanyl is part of crime, but you know what I mean. You go through the whole thing. People are being killed by the thousands in this country under Biden's watch with the illegals. I was thinking about this with 9/11 today because the fireman died that was with President Bush on top of the rubble. He passed away today. Yes. If after 9/11, Bush had no response, and not only had no response, was helping those that attacked us come into this country by the millions, what would Congress have done? Would they have just sat there and say, oh, well, or would they have shut down the government? Would they have impeached him and demanded action because America was attacked? And not only did he not respond to the attacks, He's ushered in this immigration policy to bring the people that are doing the attacking into the country by the million. That's what Biden's doing. And Mike Johnson, the power that Mike Johnson has is to shut down the government. He could shut down the federal government until they do their constitutional duty that that Biden and others have sworn an oath to do, defend the border of the United States. I mean, that's what's going on here. And Johnson, I see Mike Johnson on television. He doesn't even seem upset about it, does he? I mean, He should have been. You see Greg Abbott with the governors down there. Okay, but Mike Johnson, I just see him on TV saying he's like Ramaswamy. He says what you want to hear, but I don't see any action.
That's how it always is with Republicans.
Before Trump,
they're always like this.
That's how they always
even after
were.
Trump, it's still happening now.
Well, all the leaders we had before Trump, they would tell us what we want to hear when they're in, and then when the TV interviews, they do nothing about it. They act as if they're powerless. Yeah. The way Mike Johnson is responding is how all Republicans before Trump always reacted. They tell you what you want to hear.
Yep.
They do nothing, and then they act like they have no power to do it because the Democrats are doing something over here. They have all kinds of power. They have all kinds of authority. And Mike Johnson, to me, is just a joke. And this whole idea that they're going to allow up to 8,500 illegals a day. I mean, it not only should it be, the goal is to have zero crime, right? So what they're trying to do is what they've done with drugs. They legalize drugs, so there's less drug crimes. So what they're trying to do with this bill is legalize illegal immigration. Right?
Exactly.
They're trying to legalize illegal immigration.
Well, yeah, that's their ultimate goal.
And then they say the border's fixed.
Their ultimate goal is to legalize all these people.
Legalize illegal immigration.
Yeah, they want to make all these people legal on the dole.
They want to make them legal as soon as they cross the border.
They can vote. They're creating a whole, Elon Musk said it, they're creating a whole new voting block of people that they legalize, they can vote, they live off the dole, and this is part of their plan to destroy the middle class. It is the replacement theory, and it's true, and it's not just about race. In my opinion, it's about creating a whole new American culture of people that are used to socialistic countries that want to come here and take handouts. It's very different than the immigrants that came here 100 years ago. Totally different mindset and attitude. I mean, look at that one guy that gave the bird, and attacked that cop, and then Bragg let him go. Good luck, with that. And now he wants to get him back. I mean, they have complete disdain for this country, and they have a criminal mindset. A lot of these people coming in now. And it's horrible. And people, this is, as I've said, going to be the main issue of the election is the border. And people, thank goodness, on both sides, realize how horrible this is, and it's gone too far. And Biden is doing nothing to stop it. What they do is they do nothing. They create a problem, right? They create a problem, and then they come along a year or two later or during election year, and they say, we're going to fix the problem. But their idea of fixing it is a bunch of crap. And then they'll say, well, the Republicans won't let us fix it. And don't fall for it. That's the tactic they always use over and over and over again. They create a problem. Then they come in like they're the big hero. But their solution does not ever fix the problem. It just makes it worse. And then they go on TV and tell you. But I think finally the American people across the board, for the most part, except for the hardcore liberal crazies, really see this for what it is. And it's really because of Greg Abbott. He really deserves the credit for waking people up, because he has allowed these illegals to go to other cities where it is, this $53 million in handouts they want to give when there's single women who can't even afford diapers or baby food or anything for their children, and they need help. And then they're giving all this money to these illegals that shouldn't even be here. I mean, that's really going to piss people off, and it's going to make them vote for Trump, because all he has to do is come out, and he's done it already, and say, I'm closing the border, I'm sending all these people back, and we're just going to make America about Americans. If he sticks with that, that'll resonate with everybody.
Yeah.
The Americans are the most generous people in the world. Anytime there's a country in trouble, they come to us for help. Anytime there's a natural disaster in Haiti, or there's an earthquake somewhere, or Americans always give to the Salvation Army They raise money. They help people. I mean, look at Mary Lou Retton. She raised $500,000.
Yeah, and they're trying to put her in jail for it.
For because she can't pay her medical bills or something in a very short amount of time. Americans are very generous with their money, but they don't like to be taken for granted and taken advantage of and have these things that should not be going on. You know what I mean? And so they're finally, I think, figuring that out.
And the thing about the border, Trump's plan is simple, right? Zero illegal immigration, finish the wall, remain in Mexico, and then do deportations of millions.
Yeah, he said, "Shut the border and drill,"
and then that's what he said. And deportations.
That's right.
And here,
send them back.
Here they're talking about bringing 8,500 a day.
That's crazy.
They're
doing that already. They just want to legalize it. They're doing that already. But if they pass this bill, then they can say, "Well, this is in the bill, so it's okay." I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's an interesting thing about this because the number one issue that everyone polling with Trump in these early primary states has said, the border and immigration,
It's going to be the main issue.
And the left are still working with the uniparty, because Mitch McConnell's trying to get this border thing passed with Schumer. They're still working the uniparty to keep the border open. And Kamala Harris on TV today, which, by the way, have you seen how much her neck has aged?
Yeah, she's not aging well.
I don't know why she's
she'll
aging.
Be getting a facelift soon.
I don't know why she's aging so much. She does nothing, but her neck has really aged in the last couple of years. I saw
she doesn't look good.
I don't know. Maybe it's our new television. We got a new TV. Maybe we're just seeing her better than we used to.
No, she's just, gravity is taking a hold. So I'm waiting for her she'll be going to Joe Biden's plastic surgeon soon.
Yeah. Well, they've been talking about Kamala today running in 2028. Which is so bizarre, and
what a joke!
And she and others are talking about how her agenda is going to be abortion.
Yeah,
which tells me that Kamala probably has had several because she thinks that's a big issue with women
that is
today.
Really the only thing liberals have.
Abortion
is the abortion issue that they feel they have, and everything else they know they suck at. Which I don't know why they just don't fix it, but we know there's corruption going on. But the abortion issue is what they're clinging to in this election, that they're going to keep talking about it. But there's just things, because they're really counting on that female vote, and they're counting on the abortion issue bringing it home. Mm-hmm. But if you got women that can't afford food and can't take care of their children, that's going to be more important to them than abortion, especially if they've had children and they're, have their families already, and it's not a big issue for them right now. So I think clinging to that is a big mistake.
Well, to me, the abortion issue is a dated issue. She might as well run on bringing back Betamax tapes. Betamax is what was up. Same time VCRs came out and VHS, it was because a lot of younger people may not know what Betamax is. When VCRs were new, there were two types of VCRs, the VHS tapes and then Beta. Betamax were smaller, and there was like a war between the two, and Betamax lost. It's an old, outdated issue. Now, I want to tell you guys, Mike Lindell at MyPillow, I spoke with his office this morning. Actually, I got an email while I was on the air from them, and I talked to his office today, and I want to pass along a personal thank you from them to you for your support of MyPillow. Fox News... they fired Tucker Carlson, and they've also fired Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Right. They will no longer allow MyPillow ads, even though he paid them $5.5 million. In
fact, I don't know anywhere where he can advertise anymore, other than like us, shows like this, or I really don't see him anywhere anymore. And you guys have really been supporting him.
Absolutely.
A lot. So it's been great.
So the free shipping site-wide at MyPillow.com with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout continues.
Yes.
And they want to personally, for me to thank you for your support of Mike Lindell and his company and his employees.
Yeah, it's keeping his company going.
It really is. And remember, it's free shipping site-wide on every item, no matter what it is, no matter how large, no matter how small. But you also get the special deal. For example, right now, the MyPillow My Slippers are $90 off, just $59.98, I believe. They're $90 off. So as an example, you buy the My Slippers, you get the $90 off plus free shipping with our promo code KANE at checkout. So you get the special and the free shipping site-wide on all products with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. So go to MyPillow.com and load up and support Mike Lindell. We're going to take our first break. Don't go anywhere. We've only just scratched the surface. There's so much going on, so much breaking. We're going to take a break, come back, and jump right into it. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Take a journey of self-discovery with the new book from author Darren Charles, Retro Ride, available on Amazon. Retro Ride takes readers on a voyage into your past to uncover answers for your future. It's an experience guiding you through a list of tasks that propel you to revisit key moments, people, and decisions in your life. Embrace the risks and the rewards as Retro Ride offers a platform to relive, refresh, and rethink your experiences. You'll learn how to reframe your future and gain a deeper understanding of your journey. Retro Ride will help you confront key events like first loves, life-changing locations, and unresolved family issues. It's your chance to face the demons we try to bury and become the characters we've always dreamed of being. Retro Ride offers a new vision and inspiration and is a tool to mine your past, extract valuable lessons, and reshape yourself going forward. Each Retro Ride is unique, tailored to your experiences and ambitions. You'll learn to shape, track, and personalize your journey. Whether you're seeking an emotional journey or a mental well-being cleanse, Retro Ride is for everyone. Order your copy of Retro Ride from author Darren Charles on Amazon, available in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Share your own Retro Ride and experiences at yourretroride.com. Start your Retro Ride today and redefine your path forward. Retro Ride from author Darren Charles on Amazon. How would you like to transform your living space? You can at Tuvrik.com. That's T-O-V-R-I-K. Tuvrik.com is your premier destination for quality living. They have a carefully curated selection of lifestyle essentials that are designed to elevate every aspect of your home. From chic decor to functional furniture, they have it all. Looking for that perfect touch for your kitchen? Maybe an elegant addition to your bathroom? No problem. Tuvrik.com has a huge selection of choices in home decor, kitchen essentials, and those bathroom accessories you've been searching for. You can illuminate your home with their lighting selection and discover the latest in home electronics and advanced tech. Their furniture collection blends style with comfort and can transform any room. And don't forget about your furry family members. Tuvrik.com's pet supplies cater to their needs with love and care. And if you're an outdoor enthusiast, check out their patio, lawn, and garden selections. With fast shipping, easy returns, and a commitment to customer satisfaction, Tuvrik.com ensures a seamless shopping experience. So what are you waiting for? Start shopping right now at Tuvrik.com. T-O-V-R-I-K. And begin your journey towards a beautiful, functional, and more joyful living space. Tuvrik.com. Your premier destination for quality living. Are you in need of a little upgrade and organization in your home? Look no further than HomeSolutions.business, where you'll find essential home products and gadgets, like their double-deck shoe organizer. You'll save space with its two-tier design. It's perfect for keeping your shoes organized and undamaged. It's adjustable too, so it fits all types of footwear, from flats to high heels. And no assemblies required. With its anti-slip design and environmentally friendly material, this shoe stacker is secure and sustainable. The double-deck shoe organizer is a must-have for every home. HomeSolutions.business also have a huge selection of high-quality products, incredible prices, amazing deals, and exceptional customer service. HomeSolutions.business, where quality meets affordability in home essentials. HomeSolutions.business. Start shopping right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I had no idea the Grammys were last night. I could care less about the Grammys. But I saw one story that really ticked me off, this thing with Tracy Chapman. Okay, I just want to see, this is what the left do. The left are all about dividing people on whatever classification they can. And Fast Car was a hit, I don't know what year, late 89, 88ish, 90s, 87 or something.
It's a good song.
It's a good, it was a good song, but it was always a little slow and boring to me, But everybody, when it was new, everybody, it was a huge hit. And apparently there was some they're making this big deal because she did this live duet with Luke Combs, who I've never heard of before, by the way.
Some country singer.
And he had done a cover version of Fast Car, and apparently people were saying it was racist for him to do a cover of Fast Car.
So ridiculous.
Now,
everything's racist now.
I'm assuming that Tracy Chapman wrote Fast Car.
She did. Yeah.
So when someone does the cover, Tracy Chapman made a boatload of money off this country guy doing a cover.
Well, and not only that, their performance since the performance last night, it's number 1 on iTunes now.
Exactly.
So she's making even more money.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's huge.
Well, you got to wonder though, these controversies, you know, I hate to sound like conspiracy. You got to wonder if the record companies pay these newspapers to do this.
No,
because
I'll tell you,
it helps the sales.
No, because when the controversy first started, well, let me finish where I was going with this.
Okay.
So this guy apparently had done a cover some time ago, and people on social media were saying it was racist because he's a white man doing a cover of Fast Car, which was sung by a black woman, right? And since she wrote that song, she made a lot of money off of it.
Sure.
She got a piece of every time he sold a copy of it. I don't remember anyone saying it was racist for Whitney Houston to do a cover of Dolly Parton's hit "I'll Always Love You" when she
Dolly
did The Bodyguard.
Parton, she said, made more money when Whitney Houston sang it than when she sang it.
So all these people that are calling this guy racist, they should be if that's their mindset, they should be thanking him for making all this money for Tracy Chapman, who, quite honestly, Tracy Chapman's kind of like until this thing last night, a has-been. I forgot about Tracy Chapman. If Tracy Chapman if I'd have bumped into her at the mall, I wouldn't have recognized her.
And there's young people that watch the Grammys that probably never even heard that song before. And now they're downloading it.
So,
and buying it.
And the other thing about this is this idea that him doing the cover was racist. This is this critical race theory business that everything a white person does is racist.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of ridiculous. And Tracy, I don't care about the Grammys. I don't know anybody there last night that won anything. I mean, I know Tracy Chapman, but I don't know this guy. I never heard of him before.
I can't remember the last time I watched an award show.
Zero interest in award shows.
I used to watch them all the time when I was in high school and college, but
zero interest.
I don't watch them.
No.
Our daughter doesn't even watch them, but apparently people do and care, but Emily does listen to younger music, but she likes music, she listens to music, but I don't think she watches award shows. I'll have to ask her.
No. So Nikki Haley's boyfriend was on, alleged boyfriend, Governor Sununu of New Hampshire. Nikki Haley's alleged boyfriend was on Bill Maher over the weekend. Listen.
The nomination.
No, he did not. We're Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley 24.
Okay.
And I mean it.
Let's deal in reality here.
Yeah.
Reality. Okay, first of all, Nikki Haley's not going to be the nominee. It is Trump. Let's not argue about stupid things. Secondly.
You're buying that, though. You're buying into the fact that the voters don't matter.
Wait a second.
I don't buy that. Yeah.
The voters do matter, and they're voting for Trump overwhelmingly.
That was pretty brutal. That was just brutal.
Well, here's the real, I've always liked Bill Maher.
Yeah, he's
very intelligent.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a liberal, so he says, I think he's a conservative personally, but he's not afraid to use his show to call out the truth. And 90% of the time, he doesn't like Trump. I know that it's personal, but other than that, I think he's more conservative than he wants.
He's a lot more conservative than he lets on.
Because he calls out the left all the time. And I know Sununu's not the tip, not the left, but he kind of is. Greg Abbott, apparently, I'm watching this. He was on Fox. I didn't see it. I'm watching the tweet of it. He said before the razor wire, 3,000 to 4,000 people would cross daily in this one section, but in the last 3 days, they've only averaged 3 people.
Really?
Because of the razor wire.
Yeah.
So that's why they want it gone.
Yeah.
Because these people can't get through
There's not that many places.
I don't know why the Supreme Court did that, but he's keeping it up, and apparently he's continuing building that wall. It would be amazing if he was the VP, and I think Trump should make him. I like Kristi Noem, but I think considering that the border is Tim Scott, forget it. You're right. He's only saying that because of South Carolina. Tim Scott would be horrible. He'd never win an election. He's so awful. But if he made Greg Abbott his VP, that to me would be just the smartest thing to do, because he would say, I'm going to put him in charge of the border officially, nationally. This is going to be what this guy does. And I think since that's going to be the main issue, and Greg Abbott's already doing things, to me, that would just be the smartest thing for him. I mean, if he picked anybody else, I don't understand. I mean, don't you think that's who he should choose?
And not only is Greg Abbott...
Because of the issue.
And not only has Greg Abbott done this at Eagle Pass, right, with the razor wire, he's turned Democrat public opinion nationwide in New York and Chicago and California against the Democrats in favor of Trump's border security plans. I got a call this morning on the radio from a new listener who just found me on YouTube, who lives just south of LA. And he was talking about how he and all of his friends are voting Trump. Some of his friends, they've been Democrats all their lives. They're voting Trump. Californians, Los Angeles residents, you know, and Greg Abbott is very responsible for this. When he sent...
Oh, I think he's totally responsible for this.
When Greg Abbott sent those first buses to New York and to D.C. and was dropping off illegals in front of Kamala Harris's house, and the media were laughing. Oh, it's just 40 people. What a joke. Just a sideshow. Now, here we are. I don't know how long it's been since he started doing that off the top of my head, but it's been a while. And now, look at this. Michael Rappaport, who hates Trump like the plague, is saying Trump's the answer.
If he hadn't done that, Abbott, you would not. This is the main issue. It's one of those issues that crosses party lines, and it's because it's in their own backyard now. And if he hadn't done that, then these liberals would not be praising Trump or talking about Trump at all. So I think he's the smartest choice.
It's absolutely amazing
as the VP, considering the issue.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Now, this thing about defying the Supreme Court, I'm not a lawyer and I don't follow judicial history of the Supreme Court. And I know a lot of people that do shows like this and others. They pretend to be experts on everything. If I'm not an expert on something, I'll tell you. If I know a lot about something and have an expertise in it, you'll know. But the Supreme Court, okay, so they ordered Greg Abbott not to do this, right?
Right.
So
He's doing it anyway.
Greg Abbott is defying them. What's the Supreme Court going to do?
Nothing.
They don't have an army.
Nope.
They don't have a police force. So what's the Supreme Court going to do to Greg Abbott? How do they enforce things like this?
They can't, and he has the support of the American people behind him.
And the people of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is an unpopular thing that he's doing.
And half the governors. And
he just had them. Now, you made an interesting point. He had all these Republican governors there supporting him, but DeSantis wasn't there. I don't think he was invited.
He's on the outs.
Because I think DeSantis is a pariah.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want anything to do with him anymore. Not only that, I don't think they like him. I read an article about him, this guy that worked for him, and he said DeSantis just does not like people. And he said he's just in the wrong business because he really doesn't like people. And when you don't like people, they're not going to like you back. And it comes across. And I think Abbott just didn't invite him.
Yeah.
I don't think they want him there.
Well, yeah.
Even though he just said National Guard. So I don't know what that's about.
So if you guys out there can let us know, has there been an instance where, and I'm not talking about like a regular person like me or you. I'm talking about someone like Governor Greg Abbott. He's a governor of a state. Has someone like Governor Greg Abbott defied the Supreme Court? And what can the Supreme Court do? Now, the Supreme Court has made rulings like, for example, during the segregation era, the Supreme Court ruled that Democrats cannot have separate schools for black people and white people. Notice what I said, Democrats. I didn't misspeak. Yep. And there were local officials, governors and local officials who defied the Supreme Court. So President Eisenhower sent the army in, right? That wasn't the Supreme Court. Biden's not going to send the army after Governor Greg Abbott. Okay, that's not going to happen. So, what mechanism does the Supreme Court have, short of Biden sending federal marshals or something to arrest Greg Abbott in his wheelchair? I'd like to see them try that.
Not gonna happen.
He's surrounded by the Texas Rangers. I don't think that's going to happen. No. You know, but what can the Supreme Court do to stop Greg Abbott from keeping the razor wire up? I don't think they really
Clearly
have any authority.
Because he's keeping it up and he's putting more up. He's continuing with the wall. And if Trump or Eric Trump or hear this, please pick Greg Abbott. I'm telling you, I think. And these numbers. I know Biden put Kamala in charge of the border.
Do you have those numbers still?
Doing nothing.
It went from what to
4,000 averaging a day to 3
in this one spot.
Yeah,
and it tells you how easy it is. Greg Abbott just got some Texas Rangers together with some razor wire, threw it up there, and that's
Simple
it.
Solution.
You know, I mean, it's not that difficult.
No, Biden doesn't want to close the border, and that's clear. And he has an agenda. I think Obama's behind it, and I think they're going to keep it open. And if he won again, this country, you will not be able to recognize this country. In fact, and the thing is, young people don't know, they're not taught history. This is why they wipe out history. They don't want young people to know the history, and they'll say it's racist. They just don't want them to know the history of the Democrats. They don't want them to know the history of this country. They want to reshape the country in their image. They can't reshape the Constitution, which they love to do, or rewrite it, but they can reshape the country. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's why they're bringing in all these people, because there are more illegals coming in than there are Americans being born. I think I read somewhere. And
it's about the same.
It's about equal. So what they want to do eventually is replace Americans with people that are, and look, we're all, most of us, 99% are, immigrants or ancestors of immigrants, but it's about the mindset that they're bringing in. These people coming in are coming in with a totally different mindset than the other immigrants that have come to this country, because the way Biden is handling it, and the handouts, and letting those guys go, the middle finger to New York, can you imagine, to the law? They have no respect for our laws. Very different than immigrants that have come here before, that respect the country, that love the country. Liberals hate America, and they're bringing in people that also hate America because they want to create another Venezuela, because they want ultimate power and control.
That's right.
They can't do it with Americans that are law-abiding citizens that love America. They have to bring in a new crop of people that they can manipulate and control, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Fashionistas, it's time to redefine your wardrobe with fashion that speaks to your soul with VirtueVersatile.com. VirtueVersatile.com is your ultimate online destination for fashion that marries style with versatility. Their fashion is a declaration of your strength and your style and captures the very essence of the most modern trends. VirtueVersatile.com offer free shipping on all orders and on-time delivery. Their fashion and accessories will adapt to your lifestyle, whether you're channeling casual chic for the day or stepping into an elevated elegance for that special occasion. Their selection will align perfectly with any event and every woman. Unleash your style right now with VirtueVersatile.com. VirtueVersatile.com believe in empowering you with fashion that's as versatile and dynamic as you are. VirtueVersatile.com. Style that moves you. Fitness that defines you. VirtueVersatile.com. Start shopping right now. In today's world, being secure and safeguarding yourself, your home, your business, and most importantly, your family is more important than ever. District 35 Security and Investigations is your trusted partner when it comes to comprehensive crime prevention and investigative services. Founded in 2017 by the Taylor family and rooted in 40 years of experience, District 35 Security and Investigations are dedicated to offering tailored solutions that meet your unique needs. They specialize in both civil and criminal investigations. Their team employs extensive expertise and cutting-edge resources to deliver thorough, meticulous investigative solutions. They also provide a diverse range of security services, including risk assessment, security consulting, and specialized training programs that are all designed to enhance your safety and your peace of mind. They've played a pivotal role in deterring crime, safeguarding properties, and instilling a sense of security with their clients. District 35 Security and Investigations is licensed to operate in all 200 154 Texas counties. Whether you're seeking to protect your family, your business, or your property, their team is here to offer the peace of mind that you deserve. Take charge of your security and contact them right now online at district35-securityinvestigations-llc.us or call them directly 512-216-6211. That's 512-216-6211. District 35 Security and Investigations. Your safety is their mission. The new sci-fi novel from author Tony Travis is now available on Amazon. Keyholes. Keyholes is a journey of discovery. Meet Dr. Alan Messman and his brother Colonel Bryce Messman as they uncover a groundbreaking revelation, a mysterious portal influenced by quantum effects on photons. Join their team on a quest to unravel the secrets hidden behind the keyhole. What lies beyond? A passage to the past, an alternate world, or something beyond our wildest imaginations? Find out when you read Keyholes from author Tony Travis. Follow their journey as it challenges the very nature of reality, intertwining cosmic mysteries with a deep exploration of identity and existence. Every page is a gateway to another layer of mystery, leading to a climax that will leave you questioning the very fabric of our universe. Order your copy of Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Keyholes from author Tony Travis on Amazon. Have you ever dreamed of owning a piece of paradise? You can in Barbados. Jaya Savillani is a certified real estate agent and member of the Barbados Estate Agent and Valuers Association, and she could turn your dream into a reality. Whether you're looking for a holiday home in a gated community, a property investment, the perfect location for a hotel, or residential condo development, Jaya has you covered. There are so many options in Barbados, including agricultural land, office spaces, and more. Jaya Savillani is your go-to expert for all your real estate needs in Barbados. Jaya can also rent or sell your property. If you're ready to buy, list, or rent, contact Jaya Savillani of Savillani Real Estate online at luxurylifestyleshop.com. That's luxurylifestyleshop.com. Or call 1-246-283-8445. 1-246-283-8445. And on Instagram and TikTok at Savillani Real Estate. Your dream home in Barbados is just a click away. LuxuryLifestyleShop.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Okay, it is being reported by Russia State Television that Tucker did interview Vladimir Putin. So I hope that drops soon.
It's like you're on Tucker Watch. The whole world is on Tucker Watch.
I'm excited about it. I know a lot of people. You know, I started talking about this on Saturday on my weekend live stream on YouTube. And I'm excited about it. I was talking about it this morning. I think it was Sunday. I started talking about it Sunday
And
morning.
the thing with Tucker interviews
I'm very
is
excited.
When if he interviewed Putin on Fox, he would be constrained. They would edit it.
That's right.
They would, because
the war machine controls Fox.
Control what he said, what he asked. Now he's all buddy-buddy with Elon Musk. He can ask whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
He controls the editing. He controls, what goes out there, which obviously he's going to put out there as much as possible. And he wants people to know the truth. And the news wants to lie to you, and they want you to believe what they want you to believe. They don't want you to believe the truth. You know what I mean? And anytime the truth is out there, anytime the media tells you something's a lie, you can take it to the bank that it's the truth, okay? Because they don't want you to know the truth. They want you to stay in the matrix. So Tucker doing that, it's exciting. Everybody's talking about it. I have a feeling he's going to say Zelensky's corrupt. Yep. He's pocketing a lot of this money, that they should do an audit, that the Americans should see where this money is going. I think he's going to shed the light, and it's going to be talked about for a while with people. And the thing is, everybody sees it is on Twitter, and the news is all about those water cooler conversations. I don't even know if they have those anymore. Nobody goes to work anymore. They all work from home. But they all talk about the kitchen table conversations. Tucker doing these interviews, this is what people will be talking about, not talking about what's on Fox or CNN or MSNBC. They're going to be talking about this interview, what he's saying. And that's what scares the news, is they can't control what you're discussing at the kitchen table.
Well,
By
Kathy,
the way, I wanted to say real quick
on the Putin thing,
Yeah.
before the thing about the Putin interview by Tucker, it's not only that they can't see what would happen was, say Tucker still worked for Fox and he went there and asked whatever he wanted to ask, they would still edit it down. Like what they shut Tucker down on that J6 week of coverage he had. He had one night. We never got to see the other 4 nights.
That's what was
and Tucker said that Fox News owned that content, so he couldn't do anything with it. It's not like
That's
so he
right.
can't air it now. And this Putin interview, they can't control it. And it's an interesting thing
Right.
because I believe this war in Ukraine is unpopular in this country. I think the support of it is far overblown by the media in this country. I think most people are
I think
against
that's
it.
what we're going to find out.
But what we're going to get for the very first time is another perspective on why this war began. And
I agree.
I'm an anti-war guy, just like Trump. But when Putin starts to talk to us through Tucker Carlson about what led up to this and what Zelensky and his henchmen have been doing and up to, who knows what that's going to be, and could start a whole nother dialogue about this situation. It's huge.
It'll
think
shift things.
I really think Tucker Carlson, though, could be in a lot of trouble in this country. They could accuse him of meddling in foreign policy, which is a crime. That's that Logan Act stuff they're always
Yes.
talking about. That's
That's
what
what they'll do. That's what they're going to do.
They're going to call him a collaborator. In the old days, it was okay to go interview Bin Laden or Saddam Hussein.
Well, in the press,
or Chavez.
in the old days, exactly, the press would protect their own, no matter what side they were on. They always protected each other with the freedom of the press. But you're right; they don't consider him part of that group anymore.
He's no longer part of the club. Now, I have had for a long time a theory about the deep state that I've shared with you all a few times, and I don't talk about it too much because typically it's not that important. Most people think I'm nuts, okay?
Well, they think that anyway.
But there's something going on now that I think proves this, okay? I have this belief that, and I've talked to people in the UK about this, I have this as well as in this country. I have the belief that our deep state and the British deep state is the same deep state, that the American Revolution was never fully won as like we think, and that the Brits have always had, even after the revolution was over,
that's when it all started.
That the Brits have had a lot of control over this country and our government more than we ever have known. They got us into the Second World War. They got us into the Gulf War II. The WMD lie came from British intelligence. The fake Russian dossier was British intelligence, okay? And
they've been trying to screw us over since the Revolutionary War, since they lost.
So I think that the British have much more control over our government in this country than we realize. I think they always have. And an extension of our government is our corporate media. It's hard for me to call him King Charles. I still think of him as Prince Charles, Charles had like emergency cancer procedure today.
No, they diagnosed
it with cancer.
He had a prostate procedure. He does not have prostate cancer, but he had a prostate procedure last week.
Yeah.
And they discovered cancer somewhere in the body. They're not telling us yet. And they're already starting chemo tomorrow.
They're starting chemo immediately.
And Harry is going to London, so it must be very serious.
So they're starting chemo. Okay. The American news media is today, since this came out, it's all day long
about Charles.
King Charles,
Yep.
King Charles. And I understand it's a news story and people might be interested, but it's not worthy of all-day coverage in America. If he was a president, it'd be different. He's barely been king.
Well, I have
He's
another
not our
theory.
king. Well, and I think that this deep state control of our government bleeds through the media, and they get overly excited about the royal family because the collusion between the British deep state and our deep state, with those examples I gave you, the most recent one is the Russian dossier from British intelligence, tells you that the media and the government in this country are too tight with the Brits.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with that theory, but I have another theory. I think the mainstream media, they get all of their news from the Daily Mail.
That's true.
And I mean, if you watch Fox, okay, which I don't really watch anymore. Once in a while I turn it on, but I don't really watch it anymore too much like I used to at all. But if you watch Fox, especially, they're the worst. They get all of their stories from the Daily Mail. Mm-hmm. This is the lead story and we get stories from the Daily Mail too.
Daily Mail's good,
but we get it from other places too. But I'm just saying, they're the ones with all the reporters and the millions of dollars, and they don't go out and get stories. They just go to the Daily Mail every day, and that's it. Mm-hmm. They can do better. We don't have a whole team of people that we can send out to go find stuff. But this is the top story in the Daily Mail. And as long as it's the top story in the Daily Mail, they're going to talk about it.
That's possible.
Because it's the top story, and it's interesting. I like the royal family. My mom is obsessed. She's Canadian, and they're think they're British. And they still have the royal family on their money.
Yeah.
When you go up there, and they still do very English traditional things for the holidays. And I mean, I'd go up there for Christmas and wear the stupid crowns and all this stuff.
Gosh.
They still do all that stuff. So they're very much see themselves as a British citizen. So my mom and her whole family's really into it. And I have no problem. I mean, my mom remembers when Queen Elizabeth was coronated and stuff.
Well,
in the 50s,
the coverage
on
of
TV.
The coverage of Charles today is out of
I think it's mostly because it's on the
TV.
Daily Mail. But it's interesting. He just got coronated, so I know you don't care about this thing.
No, I don't care about it.
But I'm curious.
Don't care about it at all.
They did a procedure for his prostate. They said it was benign. I don't know what they do. They shrink it or something. While they were doing this happens quite a bit. They found cancer somewhere else. They probably did an MRI of afterwards to check, and they discovered a tumor or something. So I've never seen it happen this fast, because I know a lot of people that have been dealing with cancer. So they discovered this like last week or within the last few days. And now they're starting chemo like today. So they're doing that either because he's the king and they obviously want to get this under control as quickly as possible, or they're doing that because it's very advanced and they're like, we got to take care of this now because you're like in stage 4. So I'm curious, but they're not telling us what kind it is. My mom has her own theories on that because she follows these things, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. But they said it's not prostate cancer, so it's something more serious. Well, it could be liver, kidney.
Yeah.
He does have those really fat fingers, which everybody says means his kidneys are bad. I don't know. Could be anything. I don't know if he's a smoker. I've never seen him smoke, but maybe he drinks. I don't know, but
I don't.
We'll find out.
So
he might not be king hopefully he'll be okay though.
So
William might be king sooner than he planned.
I hope he's okay. I don't want anybody.
But I hope he's okay,
cancer.
Obviously.
So Nikki Haley last month had a mass fundraise. I mean, just massive amounts of money she raised.
Oh, what a waste!
In January. I'm just reading this in Axios today. In January alone, Nikki Haley raised $16.5 million. Remember, she's losing everything, right? She raised $16.5 million in January alone, $11.7 million from grassroots supporters. Not sure how true that is. Her campaign has added 69,274 new donors. She's brought in more than $5 million in online donations the week after she lost in New Hampshire. The week after she lost in New Hampshire, not Iowa, New Hampshire, the second one. And she's got enough money to keep going. I've been telling you guys, I don't think she's going to drop out after South Carolina. There's too much money.
No, she's obviously. But what is the point of keeping this going? Why are they doing that?
Once these people drop out of the presidential race, you don't see them on TV much.
No.
DeSantis and Ramaswamy. When's the last time you've seen an interview with those guys? Right? Because they're no longer presidential candidates.
Ramaswamy made up this stupid thing about Taylor Swift to stay in the news and got people talking about it for a week. It's just ridiculous.
So there's a couple reasons why Nikki Haley will still be in it with. And I know some people get offended by this. I saw her this Saturday Night Live bit. I was surprised that she has man hands. I never really noticed her hands before. If she stays in the race, she stays on TV. And there's two things she does. One, she's on TV trashing Trump all the time. And two, promoting the World War III with Iran.
Well, they're wasting their money.
So that's why she's staying in the race.
They're wasting their money
because of that. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for all your support. It's very much appreciated. And if you're a Patreon supporter, make sure that you regularly visit the Patreon page, because Kathy and I are always posting content up there that no one else sees. On top of the commercial-free editions of all the podcast episodes, but both of us put a lot of other content up there that only Patreon supporters have access to. So check back with that often. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the program as well. Okay, guys? And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode of the program. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P., Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, and Constance. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. Now, now that we know the interview happened with Tucker, now this is interesting thing, and by the time you're listening to this may be resolved. But I want to throw this out to you guys about Tucker interviewing Putin. I think Tucker Carlson is taking a lot of risks with this lawfare government we have doing this interview, okay? Will Tucker wait until he's back in America to drop the interview, or will he release the interview on Twitter X before he comes back home? See, now that everyone's known about the interview, he wants to get it on Twitter before the Russians start dropping things, because I'm sure Putin had people there watching it and they could start leaking and dropping things out.
Okay,
so he may drop it today.
Yeah, I mean, he can upload it from the plane. I mean, he
from
can
his phone.
Anytime, exactly.
Anywhere.
He can just edit it. I'm sure he has a team, but I think it'll be up tonight.
I'm hoping.
I think it'll be up
I'm
tonight.
hoping that I wake up tomorrow morning to do my show prep, and the Putin interview by Tucker is there. I hope he does it today.
Well, when he interviews these people, does he make them sign something where they can't record that interview themselves and upload it on their own?
No, you don't do that with Putin.
Yeah.
I mean, he may do that like if he
I think it'll be up tonight.
If he interviews somebody else, maybe, but Putin.
Let me check his X and let's see if he's.
Yeah, I checked a little while ago. There was nothing there, but maybe since we've been talking, he has put something. Like sometimes he'll put pictures. Like that's what he did with Andrew Tate, and it was like, oh wow, we didn't even know he was over there. So have you seen anything? Let me see. No, he hasn't posted in 2 days on Twitter. Tucker, not in 2 days.
The last thing he's got something pinned about going bald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
I don't know what that's about.
Well, believe me, a lot of Washington crooks are going to go bald and pull their hair out if the war stops in Ukraine that they're all profiting from.
So obviously he went to Russia. Obviously he went there for an interview. I mean, why else would he go for 3 hours and leave?
Oh my goodness!
I don't think
the
he
Kremlin.
flew there just for lunch. So that's a long flight. Tucker lives in Florida. So that's quite a long flight.
But he has other houses, so he may not fly right to Florida.
I think he probably has a house in Hungary because he's like obsessed with that country.
He's obsessed with Hungary.
So he might have a home there. So maybe he's been staying there,
Hungary,
which is a lot closer to Russia.
He may have to find a home abroad until Trump's back next year.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, so I'm so excited. I'll be looking out for that interview. Listen, if you're new, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.